Hi, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to our regular Inner Peace Satsang workshop by Ramashram Satsang Mathura. Ramashram Satsang Mathura is a non-profit organization which aims to promote peace, harmony, and spiritual growth among individuals. This Satsang workshop is a step towards achieving that goal. Ramashram Satsang Mathura was founded by our Guru Maharaj Ji, who obtained enlightenment and packaged his experience in this practice of satsang. Practicing satsang regularly will help you explore your inner self and discover the peace that lies within you. A consistent practice can really help you develop a deep sense of inner joy and happiness that remains with you independent of your external surroundings and worldly happenings. The agenda of these sessions is shown here in the next slide. Generally, the sessions are divided into 3 parts. The core of each session is the practice session, where we go into a deep silent meditation and focus on Guru Maharaj's light. These sessions are generally preceded by an informative session where our facilitator will introduce a spiritual topic and we would have a discussion around that topic, followed by a meditation session. Instructions on the deep silent meditation will be provided in detail before the session starts. These sessions are generally rounded up by an interactive session in the end, where we open up the floor for question and answers or a panel discussion, or we would continue discussing the topic we started off with. Next, it is my privilege to introduce the facilitator for today's session, respected Sanjeev Kumar Ji, who has been a meditation practitioner with over 40 years of experience and has been facilitating satsang in the DMV area across the US, in England, as well as India for the last 2 decades. This unique meditation practice was developed by his grandfather, Dr. Chaturbhuj Sahai Ji, who is also known as Guru Maharaj Ji. He believes that meditation is essential to reduce stress, anxiety, depression, and other harmful effects of these on both our mind and body. We believe this inner peace workshop will help you have a fulfilling life, and we hope that you find the peace that lies within you. With that said, I would like to welcome a facilitator, Mr. Sanjeev Kumar Ji, to help us guide into the session.
So happy Saturday, everyone. Thanks, Shivangi. Glad to be here and glad we all are trying to find peace. So, I was in India for a couple of weeks, returned last weekend, and it's always very inspiring, very uplifting. I attended, I think, all week before the New Year's. I was in several satsang sessions there. Very, very, the collective energy is just affects you in so many ways that it's hard to describe. But talking about hard to describe, I was actually asked to participate in a radio session, which I felt unwell and or I fell ill and couldn't join that. But there was a question, the first question they asked, for me to talk about was, in the journey of inner peace, the question goes, Sanjeev Ji, could you share with us the key lessons you have learned about finding inner peace over 40 years of practicing meditation? I'm like, that's a great question, right? And it's like, I thought somebody had asked me, like, while I'm there, if I could send some messages, and I recorded this, but with everything else, it didn't get here in time. So today, let me just talk about that. So fortunately, I was born in a satsang family, as Shivangi just highlighted. My grandfather, everybody referred to as Guru Maharaj, he established a process, a community, and a goal. And that goal, he said, ought to be finding the ocean of peace. So he said, like, that's what I did. And that's what he termed as, um, potentially should be the universal religion, should be, something that all of us, and actually every human being ought to be pursuing. So the other thing is that through all these years, what I found was that not just some of the leaders in satsang in India, I actually saw and met and had the fortune to be in company with folks who actually followed this approach and got to a very uncommon state, and which, when I started looking at how would I describe that, love, light, and peace, abundance of love, light, and peace. That's how I would describe that state that those folks achieved. But then, if you really ask me, I do find that there are some real challenges in the pursuit of inner peace today for all of us. So, so before I go into some of that, let me illustrate, some of those challenges with two quick stories, very brief. Um, so, someone was visiting Buddha over and over, and he would come and say, you know what, I really want to, uh, want you to show me how to get to enlightenment. So basically, he was like, every day he will come and he would reiterate uh, that, why don't you get me to enlightenment? So one day, Buddha went to his house and he asked for alms. So this guy brought some food, and then Buddha asked if he could get some milk. So he brought some milk, and Buddha took a very dirty bowl and asked him to pour that, pure and, fresh milk into that bowl. Now, this person was like staring at him. It's like, uh, how can I pour this clean and pure milk into this dirty bowl? The Buddha said, that is my problem too. I can pour pure and clean energy into you, but you need to cleanse the bowl. That's your inside first. So then the obvious question becomes, how do we cleanse our inner world? How do we, how do we cleanse this dirty bowl? And for that, my father, Dr. Narendra Kumarji, he was the youngest um, child of Guru Maharaj. He used to illustrate this in another story. So he used to say that there was a hermit who used to live in the Himalayas in a hut that was not too far from a river. So one day, a seeker came to him and said, please make me your disciple. I want to pursue the path of self-realization. So, he found like, okay, this guy is not there yet. So he said like, okay, you come tomorrow. So this happened for multiple days. Now, this person was like, okay, when will you take me under your wings? So he relented a bit. He said, okay, first do a job for me. My flower bed outside the hut needs water, but I am not too well to bring the water from the river. Can you do that? I said, sure. Do you have a bucket? And, so the hermit goes inside, finds a dirty wicker bucket, which was actually porous. So the person asked, are you sure? Um, will I be able to bring the water from river in this? He said, well, this is the only option. Why don't you try? So he decided to give it an honest effort. And so several times he went to the river, took the water, but by the time he would get to the hut, all the water would, you know, uh, disappear because it all dripped off. So he tried multiple times, tries to run back, but all in vain. Gets very frustrated, comes to the hermit and says, I'm sorry, but this is not going to work. The hermit said, look at the object now. So this bucket of wicker was now clean and shiny. So he said, that's your first lesson. You need to cleanse your heart with positive energy every day. That's satsang. So, these two stories basically talk about cleansing of our inner world, inner self, our heart. But what I have found in my 40 years, there's total confusion, absolute and total confusion. All religions should be working towards a greater good, and they should be working towards world peace, right? Because every individual needs to work towards peace, and which will then eventually get to world peace. But the clash of ideologies leads to more wars and human suffering that we can see around us today in this world than anything else. So imagine that. The medicine has become the problem. So why? So the thing is that we need to transcend the clashes and target a higher goal of higher consciousness for everyone. And I think if that was the goal, and if higher consciousness is a too heavy a word, Guru Maharaj simplified it and said, ocean of peace, abundance of peace. If that's what we target in our lives, we will be at peace and we will share that peace with others. So interestingly, that somehow with inspiration, with some direction, with some, things that happened in my life, that has become my focus. And after all these years, I still feel that there is a lot more to do. There is, if I look at 2024, my entire focus would be to add a lot more resources for beginners. And that's how things are. It's like after decades of doing this, I feel there is very little that has been accomplished. Not because, people are not interested. Culturally, we are doing everything that either continues to make our bowl dirty, or we don't know or we don't want to cleanse it. So last year, when I was translating one of the chapters, one of the 28 chapters in the 7-volume book that Guru Maharaj wrote about his journey, I found one line, which was like almost, totally an eye opener. And that, chapter was about the mysteries of finding peace. And he defined inner peace as a place where there are no desires, good or bad. So now what I would ask you to do is think about that. Do you define peace as that? I would be, so just the definition of peace, needs some reflection. See, what happens is that when you get angry, when do you get angry? When something that you desire doesn't get fulfilled. So desires make you oscillate between ups and downs based on the fulfillment or, unfulfilled desires. So then Guru Maharaj, after describing what he defines as peace, then he says, worry and anxiety are the biggest obstacles to the, for us to get to the land of peace. Then in that chapter, he elaborates multiple ways in which we can achieve peace in our lives. But then this one line that I'm getting to, he talks about that worry and anxiety, if you break it down, is because either we're, worried about something that's about to happen in the future, some mostly negative consequences, or there's some deeply disturbing thoughts about the past. So thoughts take us into the past or the future. So just when you break it down this way, if you want to be at peace, if you could find a way to be thought-free for a moment, that moment you wouldn't be able to go backwards or forwards, and hence there will be no existence of worry or anxiety. So basically, if you want to live even for a little bit of time without worry and anxiety, figure out if you could have that period of time without, like thought-free. Now, how do we get there? So, there are lots of definitions and misconceptions and misunderstandings about who the guru is and why guru and so on and so forth. But a guru knows how to be in a thought-free state. And interestingly, either because of the directive from his guru or for, some charitable reason, he wants to help you get there as well. So there is another interesting notion that before we practice, I think I want to talk about, which is why, inner peace is so elusive. Why isn't it should be intuitive to, but why isn't it? So there was I have talked about this several times, but I don't find a better example of illustrating that than, so I was in a meeting where, uh, two parties were fighting about something, and then one of them just steps back and says, if from Washington, D.C., if you need to go to New York, you need to take 95 north. But if you take 95 south and go 100 miles an hour, will you ever get there? And I think that is one notion about inner peace that, sometimes I don't know, I'm getting out on a limb and saying this, but very, very successful, very, very smart people just don't seem to understand where peace is. So if you're trying to find peace where it is not, how would you ever find it? So anyway, we collectively need to focus more on mental health and higher consciousness. And, I think there is, even if you look at the state of both of those things, there's a lot more to be done. Negative energy is in abundance all around us. It taints our lives and it affects our pursuit to higher consciousness. And not sure why there is so much confusion on how to manifest positive energy or how to embody positivity. And interestingly, and I can literally guarantee that if you are unable to at least have a moment of real peace today in the practice, then I would be really surprised. So my goal for this year is to make the pursuit of peace the way I know, more accessible, more clearer, especially for the beginners. So, in summary, Guru Maharaj reached the land of peace, and with his guru's blessings, he carved out a method and approach, which I think is something. So there are numerous ways to get there, but this is another one, a method that does transcend religion, unifies ancient research with contemporary thought towards the pursuit of peace. And that's what we will practice. So basically, Ashtanga Yoga, which was essentially, Maharishi Patanjali, who is one of the forefathers of yoga philosophy, he described 8 limbs of yoga, and asanas and pranayams, which is basically physical exercises, breathing exercises, are 2 limbs. But then there are 6 others. 2 of them are yam and niyam, which is the behaviors that you need to keep and you need to give up to get to higher consciousness. But 4 of these, which I call inner yoga, which Guru Maharaj actually, in his definition of satsang, basically focuses on, is like inward orientation, object of concentration. So I'll describe those 2. Those 2 will then lead to deep, silent meditation, which then results in higher consciousness. So towards inward orientation, what do we need to do? So one, sit in a relaxed posture, eyes lightly closed. So both of those things, we want to minimize the distraction for our minds, so that we can focus, we can concentrate. So inward orientation helps the concentration. So eyes lightly closed, relaxed and still posture, because every time your body moves, your mind moves with it. We want to minimize that. Then, so what do we want to manifest? And as we were discussing, we want to manifest the most positive energy or positivity that we can think of. And if you have an image that, kind of embodies positivity, but it needs to be conscious. So consciousness will lead to higher consciousness, right? So, so basically, think of transcendental energy in form of light is coming into your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming one with this energy. So you're getting unified, you're becoming, the energy essentially. So the source could be of your choice. And so this transcendental energy is right here, right now in front of us, and entering our heart, distributing throughout our body. So we are becoming totally immersed in this light. So we'll have music to start with that will help concentration. And then music will fade away and we'll get into deep silent meditation on transcendental energy in form of light. And that, just stay in that mode till the music comes up again and we transition out of it. And this deep silent meditation, if practiced regularly, higher consciousness is not that far. So again, we're trying to manifest transcendental energy in form of light. The light is right here, right now with us, in front of us. That light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we're becoming one with this light. We'll start with music. The music fades away, and then we'll transition out with music again. Let's start now. So happy Saturday, everyone. Glad to be here. While I was in India, Parul, my eldest daughter, was filling in, and I have asked her to continue the participation. So here she is.
Thanks, Dad. So my dad brought up an amazing topic today, which was the ocean of peace. And I thought there are so many things that we seek in the world, right? And me and my dad talk about this all the time. You know, some people, they want to find true love. Other people are chasing after job promotions. You want to make your family proud. There are so many things that we're chasing after in life. And it's a perfect time to talk about this because it's the new year. A lot of us have written down goals. There's so many things we want to accomplish. There's a new version of us that we want to birth into 2024. And some of those have probably gone out the window already. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll find that most of the things that we're pursuing in life are actually created within our minds because we think that we'll reach a certain feeling when we get to those things. And so what a lot of us, I feel like, are really looking for is happiness, fulfillment. But the thing that really slips us by is the fact that we're actually looking for peace. So when you start chasing these goals or you chase the love, you know, you'll actually find that you're so anxious, you're drinking coffee like water, you're going. And it's actually within the present moment that you find what you're looking for, which is peace. And the only way that we can get to that is by looking within. And, you know, this is what my dad is teaching and what he's, you know, telling us is that everything we're looking for is within the present moment, that we don't have to look beyond this present moment. We don't have to live in the future to find what we're already looking for. And so, you know, within this practice, we're cultivating stillness. And what my dad said, we're looking for that one moment of stillness, just one, so that we can experience presence and love and peace. That's the ultimate goal. So within this practice of, you know, 10 to 30 minutes, we're actually achieving something so much greater than ourselves, this moment of, you know, true fulfillment, which I think is found within this this ocean of peace that transcends beyond even religion or belief systems. It's just, you know, a moment of bliss. So, you know, it's oftentimes that very thing that we're avoiding, like just sitting in silence, something as simple as that, you know, that's actually where the treasure lies. That's where the answer lies, is within this moment. Oh, sorry. Could you guys hear me?
There was noise, but okay now.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's the whole thing that I wanted to say is that when we are in this pursuit of the ocean of peace, sometimes we say, like, you know, meditating is hard, but it's actually the thing that brings us to that moment of just being still and not having any, you know, conflicting thoughts or anything. That's where the answer and the treasure lies. So if you want to expand on that, Dad? I hope the rest of that came through.
Yeah, we could hear it. It was just a little noisier at one point. So at this point, I think you should be able to put your video on or raise your hand or, you know, share any thoughts, you know, unmute and share any thoughts or questions or comments or, see, interesting thing is that sometimes the confusion also comes because, you know, if I pursue this, you know, path to the land of peace, will I, you know, like give up or not do justice to the other duties I have? And this is, this is a very deep topic, actually. But for today, I think all I would say is, if we were, I think it was always funny when Parul said that, just keep drinking coffee like water. So balance is something that we lose when we lose perspective. And so if we step back and think about almost 30% of our lives, we would be sleeping. And so is that not productive? Is that not, something that helps us? And the answer to that is very simple. Just don't sleep for 2 days and you will know the answer, that how important sleep is. Or ask those people who are, not able to sleep well. And, meditation would help us, in that regard as well, to get better, deeper sleep. So, it could be a little shorter as well. But so bottom line is that the pursuit of peace should not get in our way of achieving, goals that we have. So the way I'm thinking about it is, Guru Maharaj himself, he documents that all he would ask is, take 1 hour out of 24 hours. So 23 hours, keep doing what you're doing and keep doing what you need to do. This 1 hour for yourself, practice this, method. And what you will find is your concentration gets better, your decision-making gets better, your sleep gets better, and I can go on and on. So this 1 hour, so what happens is that when we get too busy, this, something has to give, and this is what would. And that is when, when you do something like that, that's when, like, if you don't sleep well, you see the effects. If you don't meditate and if you don't integrate meditation into your lives, we see the effect in our lives and others' lives as well. So it's 11:02. So any questions, comments? And Jeff, I don't know when you joined today. So I remember you had asked me to send a, note, a message when I was in India. I recorded it, but didn't get here. But today I, talked about that. So, you can go back to YouTube channel and watch it if you like. Questions, comments, thoughts? So time to wrap up then. So Omkar, would you? So yeah, the YouTube channel, I think Shivangi has shared. So I would also, I'm in process of creating some short 25-minute or so daily meditations. So we'll have the music and all that. Anna is asking, so where was the question? Oops. Oh, I just saw the question. Okay, so how do we know that we are properly practicing meditation through inner yoga? Your presentation talked about the 4 limbs. So essentially, if you look at the how to practice aspect when I was talking about inner yoga, see, my personal advice would be come to these group sessions once a week. We have twice a week sessions, one at Tuesday, 7 p.m. and this one Saturday Eastern, 10 a.m. Also, the Saturday, January 27th, I'll be in Seattle. So we will be that day. I think the session would be at 2 p.m. Eastern rather than 10 a.m. So just FYI. So talking about how, so group sessions, the daily meditations would have the instruction on how to practice. But if there are, typically there are questions like, oh, I'm not able to visualize light, or the monkey mind doesn't, hard to tackle, and so on and so forth. So for all of that, the reason we have these, learnings or discussions before and after is to just answer some of those questions. So meditation should be effortless. Think about light in a very effortless way, in the sense that don't even like observing your mind should be, if the monkey mind is not, getting calmer, and you're not able to focus on what you're trying to manifest, which is this transcendental light that's entering your heart, enlightening your heart, and it's then the entire body, is completely immersed in this light. If you're unable to do that, come to these group sessions. The group energy, helps, and ask questions, and hopefully sooner rather than later, you will be able to practice the way it ought to be. Is there something else here? So Steve, yeah, I saw you on the video shortly before. What types of resolutions might you suggest to improve inner peace? Oh, and you have made 2 simple ones. So Steve, why don't you share those 2, and then I can also talk a little bit about
yeah, I've just made two simple ones: to drink more water and to read more. I told you a while back I was going to be traveling to England, and I was able to visit the Neasden Temple, and that was a very warm and welcoming experience. Wow. I really enjoyed that trip there, and the people were so welcoming. And it just really tied in with some of what's been talked about the last couple sessions with regards to transcending religion. And I just feel like there's hundreds of religions, I think, that lead to the same place. Mm-hmm. And one of the there's an exhibit in the Nizhda Museum there, and one of the quotes that I took away is that in bringing joy to others, we find it ourselves. And so, with regards to just resolutions, mine are not material types of resolutions, but just I think hopefully being able to just, in being one's best self, being able to bring joy to others, I think ultimately creates that sense of inner peace. So I don't know, drinking more water maybe will wash the bowl.
No, but I think your quote talks about probably a third resolution, right? It's like, see, when you help others, when you share inner peace, this is something that multiplies, right? It's what I have found is that if you embody inner peace, it's like in all religions, the images have this aura, which is very bright, very almost shining light. What it depicts, in my view, is that when you embody this transcendental energy in form of light, eventually it's almost as real and as, so the person who would come in your contact would be able to feel it, right? It's like when we, for example, embody anger or, and I can go on with those emotions, people around you feel it, right? So similarly, this love, light, and peace, when it gets in abundance within us, it becomes like you don't have to do anything to share it, right? It's just, you have such abundance that everybody who comes in contact, feels it, gets a share of it. And I mean, I think all of us should drive towards that.
Thanks.
Sure thing. Always glad to have you here. And so goes for everyone else. Let's I think Steve is right. We should strive towards, resolutions where we help ourselves and in that process help others. So on that note, be love, light, and peace be with you, and we'll see you here soon. And as I said, January 27th will be, the session will be, usually it's 10 a.m. Eastern, but January 27th, it'll be 2 p.m. Eastern, because we'll be in person in Seattle. All right. So thank you and Happy New Year, Geeta. Yeah. Happy New Year to everyone. Take care.